What is going on, everybody? Today I'm going to be doing a play until I lose video, which means I press record and I'll keep playing until I fail to get first. Now the first hole of the first match, we got hole 16 with a little bit of a tailwind, so we are definitely going to be taking the shortcut here.
Nice shot.
Directly into the bunker as expected. Now the wind isn't too aggressive, so definitely going to try to line it up for an eagle here. Don't think I need to adjust too much because the direction is only a little bit to the right. And looks like even that adjustment for the wind was too much, but not a big deal here. We do secure birdie on hole 16. Looks like we had one disconnection, which I suppose gives us a bit of a better chance at winning this game, but only a few birdies there. So going into hole number 2, tied for first place as we move on to hole 18. And we do have a 13-mile-an-hour headwind that is too strong to go to the island on the left.
Nice shot.
We're going to have to be taking this way today. Although I do think we can make it this way. The wind is kind of dead on headwind, but it's only 13 miles an hour. I think we can clear the cliff and make it onto the green.
Nice
And if
shot.
not, we should be close enough on the fairway. Pretty decent shot, actually. I'm surprised.
Nice
It was like perfect amount of power to go full send on the driver. A little bit better wind adjustment. That could have been an albatross. But I'm not going to complain as we sink the eagle and add 14 points to our score. So 2 eagles on that hole. The other person to eagle, Jeff, also birdied the first hole. So a 2-way tie for first place, 24 points after 2 holes. And we do have a 7-point lead over the rest of the room. So this game is shaping up to be pretty close between me and Jeff. I'm going to have to outplay him on the remaining 3 holes if I want to catch a win here. Hole 2 with very aggressive wind here. Still going to use a 7-iron. Just going to move quite far to the right.
Nice shot.
All things considered, that's a pretty decent shot.
Nice on.
Less than 10 feet away from the hole with that kind of wind.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
But don't get the putt right. So an unfortunate play there gives us a par. And Jeff does sink the birdie as I would expect on hole number 2. It's a bit of an unfortunate hole. No one to blame there but myself. It was a pretty poor showing on that putt. So 2 holes left to keep this video alive. Let's see what we can do.
Nice shot. Nice shot.
Probably going to see a birdie from Jeff here. So I'm going to have to be pretty precise on the chip. See if I can get the eagle. Alright, I've adjusted a little bit for the wind. Now comes the power. Probably going to go 2 3/4 dots. I don't want too little because the 9-iron doesn't roll very far. And it was a close attempt, but unfortunately as we bounced on the green, it Moved us a little bit too far to the right. Although if you saw that, Jeff did get the par. So it looks like we are going to be tied going into the final hole. He must have messed up his chip. I was pretty focused on my own chip on stroke number 3, so I didn't realize where he was at. But nonetheless, back in first place. And I guess the fate of the video rests in this hole. We can outplay Jeff here. That's a win. We move on to another game. Or maybe we tie and move on to closest to the pin.
Nice shot.
I think the placement of the hole on this green is going to make this hole a little bit more difficult. But we'll have to see where we are for stroke 3. But way too much power on that. I meant to give it 2 dots, but as you know, the swinging is very sensitive when you're on the rough or in the bunker. So another mistake on my end. Shouldn't be too big of a deal though, because we're still pretty close to the hole. But this is what I mean, that it was a difficult hole placement. Very close to the bunker here, so gonna need a very precise chip. I'm thinking full power with the 7-iron with backspin. Ooh, looks like we didn't really get the backspin there. And the problem here is that if I miss this putt, the ball is going to go rolling way past the hole, down the slope of the green. But that doesn't matter because we sink the very difficult putt. We get birdie, and that will be enough to win. And if you were watching, you got to witness Jeff miss his putt, so we take a win on game number 1. 51 points, pretty decent score. Let's jump into the second game here.
Finish.
Alrighty, we are in game number 2 here. Mostly A players and a C and a B player. No other S players in this lobby. I guess I consider that good news and bad news. Good news is that probably gives us a higher chance at winning, continuing on the video. Bad news is if we win, we don't gain a lot of rank from this lobby. And if we lose, we would lose a lot of rank. But let's just focus on the game, go hole by hole, try to get the win.
Nice shot.
Rank definitely does not always determine how good you are. A lot of players in lower ranks are actually very skilled. So I gotta stay focused here, make sure I'm on my A game. Now this is a little tricky because we have such a strong headwind. I don't know how much to go. I would think that just full sending the 5-iron is enough.
Nice shot.
Looks like it was enough, even though we went a smidge under full power. We sink birdie on hole number 1. Just about all birdies there as you'd expect. Moving on to hole number 2. Pretty close pack. Wow, strong wind again. So far, the wind's been relentless, but I think this should be relatively straightforward. Just adjust for the wind and still go 3.5 with the 7-iron. Maybe slightly under because it looks like the wind is pointing just a little bit upwards, indicating a tailwind.
Nice shot.
And I will definitely take that. Pretty nice approach on a par 3 considering we had really strong wind. And a pretty safe birdie putt. And a lot less birdies on that hole. I guess that's to be expected with strong wind. Only one other person who birdied the first hole birdied the second one. So tied for first going into the semifinals. And we get Classic A, hole 11. 20-mile-an-hour wind, still quite strong. But I do think that this is just a full send with the 7-iron with backspin moment.
Nice shot.
which it definitely was, but the wind carried me a little bit more. But still sink the birdie.
Nice birdie.
And so does Mr. Trevor. So well done to him. He is keeping up. Right now we are tied for first on 30 points. Pretty good pace. Let's see what hole 4 has for us. Hole number 12. A possibility for one of us to pull ahead. Now with 15-mile-an-hour tailwind, just going to spoon this.
Nice shot.
And it really depends if either myself or Trevor can eagle this hole. I'm sure that's what we're both going for here. Now what's normally an easy chip is going to be a little more difficult here because of the tailwind.
Nice shot.
And looks like I gave it just a little bit too much there. We end on the fringe, 9 yards away. And put too much power on that chip. So we are going to be settling for a birdie here.
Nice birdie.
And I suppose that was a little bit of a wasted opportunity. Definitely could have eagled that hole. And check this out, someone who was in third did get the eagle. So Trevor and I are still tied. However, Tom is now ahead of us. We have a 1-point deficit with 1 hole to make up for it. That chance is coming on hole 15 with what looks like no wind. So our chances here are going to be tough.
Nice shot.
So Tom is in the bunker there. If he misses his chip in, there is a chance. And I'm actually not going to go 9-iron. I'm going to go 7-iron. A little bit over 3 dots. So a good approach by us.
Approach.
But more importantly, a par from Tom. If we sink this putt, we will pass him. And a bogey from Trevor.
Nice birdie.
So we will take the win in game number 2. We should be at 50 points. And there we go. Game number 1 was 51. Game number 2 is 50. A little bit of luck on this game, I will say. Tom, luckily for us, got the par on the last hole. But that's a win nonetheless. I'll see you in game number 3. Game number 3 here looks like we have a rematch against Trevor. We find one S0 player, the rest A players. I'm thinking this will probably be a competitive match. I recognize a few names in here. I know that they play very well despite their A rank. So another tough match ahead of us, starting off on hole 11. Very similar to last game. I'm going to go full power with the 7-iron with backspin.
Nice shot.
And just like last time we played this hole,
Nice approach.
pretty much perfect power, but wrong wind adjustment. But a birdie is a birdie, no matter how we got it. So pretty standard stuff on hole number 1, pretty much all birdies, but back to hole 12. Let's see what we can do this time. I'm gonna go for the shortcut once again. Definitely possible in terms of distance with this wind.
Nice shot.
Just gotta get the wind right, which it looks like we did. Pretty close call on those trees though. I was worried we might get caught up in those trees and land out of bounds. To be honest, I didn't even think about that before I shot. But we're on the fairway nonetheless. Adjusting quite a bit for the wind and then going probably a little over 3 3/4 in terms of power.
Nice shot.
Dang, looks like that wasn't even close to enough. We bounced right in the middle of the bunker, so definitely needed way more power there. Looked like we got the wind okay though, but still in the bunker. Ooh, a very close attempt for the chip-in eagle. Just a foot and a half away. But it's going to be 10 points from the second hole of this game. And mostly birdies, but there was a couple eagles there, putting us at a 4-point deficit going into the semifinals. Hole 16 here, definitely going for the shortcut with minimal wind.
Nice shot.
Now, I don't know if you noticed this, but one of the guys who eagled last hole who is in first is Papone. He was in either my last video or some recent video. He's a very good player. We ended up beating him, but it took a closest to the pin to do that. So I'm not liking the fact that we are trailing to him, because we know he can play well. Ooh, and very close to the eagle,
Nice approach.
but just a little bit off. It really is fine margins in this game, but we are going to settle for 10 points. And it looks like Trevor, our rival from last game, has dropped off. But I'm still 4 points down, even though we're on 30 points after 3 holes. Still down by 4, but hole 18 does give us an opportunity to make a comeback.
Nice shot.
Really got to focus up here, though, and make sure we secure the eagle on this hole. So this is going to be a little bit tricky. Definitely have to go over 3 dots, but do not want to overshoot this. I guess I would rather be on the green before the hole than past the hole and on the fairway. Ooh, and I accidentally curved that. So power-wise, seemingly okay, but curved that shot, putting us in a pretty bad position.
Nice approach. Nice
And although we get the birdie, it was not an eagle. And unfortunately for us, 40 points isn't even enough to make it to the final.
good game.
A 4th place loss. Really should have taken advantage of the opportunities that I had on that hole, because we had 2 eagleable holes that we birdied. So it could have even been a 58-point game. Unfortunately, we don't play that well. But if you did enjoy that type of content, hit the like button, and I'll see you guys in the next video.